Hamdoon, the lucky jersey. Let me tell you about Hamdoon Hassan, a 26-year-old dreamer whose life reads like a cautionary tale written by someone with a very twisted sense of humor. Picture this: a cramped apartment where every surface screams Barcelona. Posters of Messi cover water stains on the walls. A collection of scarves hides the broken furniture. And somewhere beneath it all sits our hero, eating cereal from a cracked Barca bowl while his landlord pounds on the door like the ghost of rent payments past. You see, Hamdoon had a problem. Well, several problems, actually. He was 3 months behind on rent, 2 weeks behind on life, and somehow still convinced that Barcelona's next match would turn his fortunes around. The kind of optimism that would be inspiring if it weren't so clearly delusional. Abu Rashid, his landlord, stormed in with all the fury of a referee making a controversial VAR decision. 3 months, he bellowed, waving unpaid bills like yellow cards. But Hamdoon had a plan. He always had a plan. The fact that his plans typically ended in disaster was apparently just a minor detail. 1 week, Abu Rashid declared, and Hamdoon was left staring at his reflection in a blank TV screen, calculating just how long a week actually was. Spoiler alert, it's still 7 days, even when you're desperate. But here's where our story takes a turn, toward the supernatural or the spectacularly stupid, depending on your perspective. Because 3 hours later, in a dingy internet cafe that smelled like desperation and instant coffee, Hamdoon found salvation on eBay. Rare 2009 Messi jersey match, worn cursed by Real Madrid fan, $50. Now, most people would see the word cursed and think, perhaps this isn't the wisest investment. But Hamdoon wasn't most people. He was a man who wore football shirts to job interviews and considered optimism a survival skill. So naturally, he clicked buy now and sealed his fate with the enthusiasm of someone who had clearly learned nothing from previous poor decisions. His best friend Nadia, a Real Madrid fan, yes, the ultimate betrayal, immediately texted him warnings about fiscal responsibility. But Hamdoon had already moved past reason and into that dangerous territory where hope meets stupidity and produces what psychologists probably have a very long name for. 3 days later, the package arrived, and oh, it was beautiful. A vintage Barcelona jersey that seemed to shimmer in the light like something blessed by the football gods themselves. Hamdoon slipped it on, and for one perfect moment, he felt like he could conquer the world. That's when the mysterious voice called, "You shouldn't have bought that jersey," it whispered, like something out of a budget horror film. But Hamdoon, ever the optimist, assumed it was a prank. After all, he'd received stranger calls before. Just last week, someone had tried to sell him alien abduction insurance. The first sign that something was genuinely wrong came at the market. What should have been a simple walk turned into a catastrophic chain reaction involving worms, oranges, fish, and what can only be described as the world's most aggressive fruit vendor. By the time the dust settled, Hamdoon was covered in seafood and questioning his life choices. But not the jersey. Never the jersey. That evening, Nadia summoned him to the hospital, where he met Mr. Gonzalez, a fellow Barcelona fan who'd made the exact same eBay purchase. The old man looked like he'd gone 10 rounds with fate and lost every single one. 7 accidents since putting on the jersey, including being struck by lightning twice. Twice! The universe apparently believed in thorough follow-through. Real Madrid for 9-9. The seller was called a name that should have been the first red flag in a parade of red flags. But hindsight, as they say, is 20/20. Unlike Hamdoon's decision-making skills, which seemed to operate at about 2200, standing in that hospital bathroom, staring at his reflection in a mirror that had inexplicably cracked, Hamdoon faced a choice: remove the jersey and admit defeat, or keep wearing it and see just how much worse his luck could get. The answer came in the form of his apartment building on fire. Not metaphorically on fire, literally, genuinely, spectacularly ablaze. His entire Barcelona collection gone. His home destroyed. His security deposit presumably vaporized, along with the kitchen that had spontaneously exploded while he was away. But here's the thing about Hamdoon. Even standing on the sidewalk watching his life literally go up in smoke, he couldn't help but wonder, had the jersey caused this disaster? Or had it somehow saved him from being home when it happened? Asterisk. Because that Hamdoon Hassan was a man so committed to hope that even cursed Barcelona merchandise could unbreak his spirit, sitting on his friend's couch that night, staring at the jersey that had turned his already chaotic life into something resembling a supernatural disaster movie. He made a decision that would define the rest of his story. He wasn't giving up. Not on the jersey, not on Barcelona, and certainly not on the increasingly slim possibility that his luck might someday change. Tomorrow, he would investigate the curse. Tonight, he would watch football highlights until the pain went away. Of course, the television immediately broke, because at this point, the universe seemed personally invested in Hamdoon's suffering. But even in the darkness, with thunder rolling overhead like cosmic laughter, our hero held onto that jersey and whispered the words that would carry him through whatever came next. My luck can't possibly get any worse. And that, dear listeners, is how you know this story is just getting started.